Steven Crowder is this right-wing comedian, and he has a YouTube channel which is very large, actually, very, very big, gets a ton of views, and a lot of people somehow listen to this guy and go, yeah, this makes a lot of sense. But anyways, after Roe v. Wade was overturned, of course, he loved it. He said that it is a step back for whores, and continued to go on to say that same-sex marriage should be next. Now, let's go ahead and play the clip. It is about 3 minutes. Let's go ahead and see what his reasoning is.
Yeah. By the way, I think that states should have the right to regulate same-sex marriage. You know why? Because states have different divorce laws.
So already, he says, I think states should have the right to regulate same-sex marriage because states have different divorce laws. Now, notice that he's only talking about same-sex marriage for whatever reason. I don't know why he decided to skip over heterosexual marriage. Just, I don't know. I don't know why he would do that.
State issue.
Oh, it's no-fault divorce, which, by the way, means that in many of these states, if a woman cheats on you, she leaves, she takes half. So it's not no fault. It's the fault of the man.
That has nothing to do with gay marriage. Like this a notion of divorce laws have nothing to do with gay marriage.
And that's why, look, you can argue till you're blue in the face. Even the women who separate yourself from feminists, well, she is entitled to 40%. 40% of young men don't want to get married.
Thins out the herd a little bit.
What do you want? Do you want to be able to get married? Or do you want to be a living hussy for the rest of your life? There's going to have to be a compromise. There need to be changes to marital laws. And I'm not even talking about same-sex marriage. Talking about divorce laws, talking about alimony laws, talking about child support laws.
But if he's not talking about same-sex gay marriage, then why would he open with, I think a state should have the right to regulate, and when he says regulate, he just means ban. Why I think that they should be able to regulate same-sex marriage, but I'm not talking about it though. He's not talking about it.
Men now don't want to get married. It's a raw deal for a lot of them, and I'm not on board with the men's rights activists who believe that they shouldn't be held accountable for any. Certainly not on board with the pickup culture, the idea of one-night stands. Not at all. But I am saying that there does need to be a give and take to all legal contracts. That's not the case in many of these no-fault divorce states. So I don't know why it's outlandish to say, well, this state can make it no fault, and this state can say that if you cheat, you forfeit your right to the division of property, and states can't say, by the way, these are the qualifications for marriage, namely a man and a woman. I don't know. Again, legally, you may not like it, but it seems to me that it should be a state issue. I want the state as uninvolved in marriage as possible.
Yes.
Okay. He says he wants the state to be uninvolved in marriage as possible. But right before that, at the very beginning, he says, oh, no, actually, I think states should have the right to regulate same-sex marriage. So I don't want them to be involved with marriage unless it's gay marriage, same-sex marriage, which at that point I'm okay with.
I honestly, it's a covenant. As a Christian, it's a covenant between you, your wife, or your husband, and God. It didn't say, and thou shalt go to the courthouse and give half. Thou shalt have joint ally bank accounts. You know what I mean? It ends up, unfortunately, it's destroyed the institution of marriage for young Christian men. How many chats do we get? How many emails do we get? And there hasn't been a show that's been more pro-institution of marriage than this program.
When Steven Crowder says institutional marriage, based on his past opinions, what I assume he means is only a marriage between a man and a woman, and he is playing up to his newfound theocratic base and to his theocratic supporters who are Christian and want to force it upon everybody else.
Men going like, yeah, but I'm really afraid to do this because I live in a state where even if she cheats on me and she leaves, I have to pay half and I have to pay alimony. And we go like, I get it. It's a raw deal where I'm almost at the.
Now, if you want to talk about alimony and how guys tend to get the shorter end of the stick, depending on which states that you are in, then that is a completely separate issue from the conclusion that Steven Crowder is going to come to about same-sex marriage. It is nowhere near the same issue, which is why everything that Crowder is saying makes zero sense in the context of gay marriage, because this has nothing to do with gay marriage. This has something to do with Steven Crowder just being a gigantic asshole.
They can determine what qualifies for a marriage in many other facets. They can say, well, you can't marry someone. Why? Because you're already married, so you can't marry a second one. You say, oh, okay, that's fine. They can say, hey, well, you can't take half. Why? Because you cheated, so you don't get to divide half at this point. Okay, but then another state says, I don't care that she cheated. She can take half or he can take half if she's the primary earner. If they can do that, why can't they say, well, you can't get married? Why? Because you both have dicks. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's basically his main point is, why can't two guys get married? Because they both have dicks. And that is basically what he wanted to say all along. But, following Steven Crowder's logic to its logical conclusion, this guy would be 100% in favor of getting rid of interracial marriage too. Because everything that Steven Crowder just said, you could apply to anything, really. You can apply it to same-sex marriage, which he did. You can apply it to interracial marriage, and you could apply it to even heterosexual marriage, which he would never do because he doesn't have the hate boner towards straight people the same way he does for LGBTQ people, and perhaps even interracial marriage, which, given this guy's history, I would not be surprised if he was in favor for. So Steven Crowder comes again with the hottest of hot takes, making really no sense, talking about alimony and talking about a bunch of irrelevant stuff just so he can dunk on gay marriage, because they have regulations for specific portions of marriage, so it is totally okay for the state to discriminate against a minority group. Steven Crowder, everybody.